What is up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. This episode wasn't originally planned for this week. Our original plan, which is happening next week, Lord willing, is continuing in our series of seeking more in 2024 and looking at the thought of Lord, increase our worship. But just with the weekend, and just this week in general, it's been a crazy weekend, but a fun weekend. And this week's going to be a crazy but fun week as my church is having their VBS. So tonight, Sunday, usually I record the episodes Sunday afternoon or even Saturday. But today we had our kickoff to Vacation Bible School, so we're having that Monday through Wednesday. So my week's going to be a little bit crazy here. But yesterday, the reason I couldn't record it on Saturday is because I was in a little park called Cedar Point. So today, our main segment is going to be my trip review, or trip report rather, of my trip to Cedar Point. So we're going to be talking about the day there, some of the rides that we got to experience, coasters and rides we got to experience, and the food that we had there. And I'll give you even my top coaster list there, and kind of tell you where Six Flags. Well, we're going to be Six Flags, but where Cedar Point is on my my park ranking there. So, without further delay, let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode. You don't want to miss a second, so go ahead, buckle up, because here we go. And welcome to the main segment. As I said in the cold open, we're going to be talking about our trip to Cedar Point. And that's not a name that you typically hear roll out of my mouth, but we went yesterday for the first time this season. Our plan is to go a few more times that season because we have the Cedar Fair all parks passport this season. So far we've experienced for the first time Carowinds. That was a fun trip, and you can go back to that episode a few weeks ago where we talk about our experience there with the coasters, the food, just everything about that trip is in that episode. And of course, we went to Cedar Point. This is a park I've been to when I was really young. I don't remember much. I don't even think we did much there. And then just a few years ago, a little bit after Kizzy and I got married, we went up to Cedar Point back when things were cleared from all the COVID craziness. But we went up there. Didn't get to do much because it was very packed. I think we did 3 coasters at the max. Yesterday, we got to do quite a bit more. We got a lot in, especially for it being a busy day. Saturdays are their crazy days for what I hear. That's honestly any park, but we did quite a bit. The waits were about an hour or so, an hour or less. Thankfully, we didn't wait more than at the max an hour and 20 minutes. That was the most we waited, and that was for Maverick, which, if you know Cedar Point, that is a very long waited ride, for lack of better terms. That and Steve, I'm sure Top Thrill 2, whatever you want to call it, will be longer. But we're going to go ahead and just walk the park today and just go through our day there at Six Flags. And I'm going to go ahead and put this disclaimer in there. I may just roll some nonsense off. I'm still recovering from yesterday. It was a great day, but a very long and tiring day, especially the drive up there. It's a 3 hour and 15 minutes or change, whatever, drive up there. So I'm still kind of still a little groggy, if you would, in the brains there. But we went to Cedar Point. So we're going to talk about Cedar Point today. Not quite Six Flags, Cedar Point. Yeah. Anyways, let's hop into the episode. So we get there. We here, and along the way, I'll throw in my 2 cents about just our experience. So we arrived there for ERT. Our plan was to get in there ERT Millie. So we get there. The lines were ridiculous to get in. I'm sure there was like groups there. I think there was a couple of schools. I don't know why there's schools there in the middle, there at the beginning of summer when there should be whatever. Our friend Matt Newell, good friend of Rive Life Ministries, good friend of us, me and Ryan. He was at the park too, and we messaged him saying, "Hey, we're at the park too. It'll be cool if we see you guys there." Him and his son Tyler, we saw them. But he is like, "Yeah, be prepared. It's going to be a busy day. They've got cheer competition, music. Something I don't know. A bunch of people were there. We could tell." So we get there. Parking was fine. That's one of the things I like about Cedar Point is the parking is pretty good. And how they have that all arranged. But we get there. We're waiting in line like, okay, is this the ERT line? Like this long lineup? Okay, whatever. So we're waiting. I think about a good 15 minutes or so. We're waiting like, oh my goodness, are they going to let us in? Because we see gatekeeper go over the main entrance. People are on it. I'm like, is this line moving? What's going on? And long story short, we overhear that there's a line on the other side of the entrance for early entry. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell us? Why isn't there any signage about this? So the only signage I saw was for prestige pass holders, which we're not anymore, praise the Lord. That's the only signage we saw, so we didn't know there was early access. But neither here nor there. After 15 minutes waiting in this long line, we finally get over. We get in. We head straight back to Millie. And the park was quite empty. So we got on Millie in about 15 minutes, which is pretty good for ERT, especially for it being Millie, Gatekeeper, I think a few rides over in Kitty Kingdom, Camp Snoopy, Planet Snoopy, whatever. There's a few rides over there, but we get over to Millie. Great time, great ride. We love Millie. We were in the front car, so that was fun. And then after that, we make our way over to Maverick, and this was quite interesting. So we get over there, walk through the petting zoo area. We stopped by and said good morning to Churro and friends over at the petting zoo. It's great seeing Churro. Such an icon. Gotta love Churro. So we saw Churro, said our highs. Went over to Maverick and like, oh my goodness, this is going to be insane. Let's go get a drink from the Coke Freestyle right over there in Frontier Town. Go grab us a drink and hop in line. So we do that, and we were in line for an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know what it is for Maverick, but I had doubts. I'm going to be honest. I had doubts. Like, is this worth the wait? Is it worth 2 or almost an hour and a half? Is this worth it? But it was. I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you where it is on my ranking of Cedar Point rides and coasters at the end of this main segment. But so we get to ride Maverick, and let me say it is worth the wait. No matter what the wait time is, I think it's worth it. And I'll kind of explain my decision making when it's worth waiting for a ride or not. But after Maverick, we decided it's time for lunch. It was about 11 o'clock, 11:30, I think. And we are hungry, so we head on over to the Farmhouse Grill, which is right behind it. And one of the things I do want to go ahead and just throw my 2 cents on is Cedar Point needs to do better with signage. Cedar Point needs better signage and directions. The app is not that good, I'm going to be honest. So it's hard locating things. And we really have never explored Cedar Point. Like I said at the beginning, we went a few years ago. It was insane. We didn't really know where things were anyway, so that added to the confusion. But with it being a slightly less crowded day, but still crowded, if that makes sense, it's hard to find our way and navigate the park. So I wish they had better signage, but we ultimately had to do one big loop around Frontier Town to notice that the Farmhouse Grill is right in front of Maverick. So, yeah. But we went in there, had lunch. It was good lunch. I will say it's probably one of the best spots we've had a meal at the park. And the places we've eaten before or had a meal at, obviously Farmhouse Grill. We've ate at the Grand Pavilion. I'll talk about that later. Yeah. We have eaten at the Hugo's. We've had the Italian meal there, and we had the Coaster Cafe. We've been there. But I will say, Farmhouse Grill is probably the best place to eat at Cedar Point. I had the fried chicken, potato wedges, or potato spears, however, whatever they call them, the steak fries, the potato steak fries there, and into the roll or the biscuit. The fried chicken was great. Went through that quickly, or went through that meal really well, quickly, however we went. But again, like I said, I'm struggling for words today. But the chicken was really good. The fries they were pretty good. The fries were good, but the biscuit was hard. It's like a stale KFC biscuit. I don't know if it's just the one I had or whatever, but overall the food was good, and just the atmosphere there at the farmhouse. Farmhouse Grill, it was great. I definitely recommend it if you're at the park, especially if you have the meal plan and you get the. I believe their meal deal there is an entree, side, and then the biscuit. So there's that. And after lunch, what did we do after lunch? Let me look at my cheat sheet here. And this is a shout out to the Log Ride app. I'm looking at our little trip report here. So if you ever go to a park or anything like that, I definitely recommend the trip report feature on the Log Ride app. So we did Millennium Force, we did Millie, then Maverick, and then we went to Rougarou, if that's how you pronounce it. We went to Rougarou. It was all right. We waited about, I'd say about a good 15-20 minutes. Is it worth the wait? I don't think so. It's our first time doing a floorless coaster. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. That's all I can say about that. And it did hit our head a few times on the restraints, but it is a fun ride. Will we do it again if the line's short? Yeah. But we did Rougarou, and from there we just walked the park. We were going to do Valraven. They were doing a lot of testing in the morning for it. I don't know if it was down or what it was, but there was quite the line when we went back to Valraven, and we're hoping to do that on our next visit. That's one of the coasters we definitely want to get done on our next visit to Cedar Point in just a few weeks, actually. We're going back to Cedar Point, just have a great day there, stay the evening, basically from open to close that. And then the next day we're going to see Back to the Future the musical over at the Playhouse Square in Cleveland. So a nice little weekend getaway for us. But Valraven was out of the picture for the day. The line was ridiculous, so we didn't get to ride that. But after that, we just walked around, looked into some of the shops and Sweet Spot, and then we went over to the French Quarter Cafe, and this was really good. We got the beignets there over at the French Quarter Cafe. The beignets were really good. I don't know if they were fresh or not, but they were nice and fluffy still. And if you've ever had a beignet, they're like a donut croissant mix. If a donut had a baby with a croissant, that's the weirdest way of putting it, but that's what it was. But the food was great. The beignets were great. But a common theme I noticed at Cedar Point, some of the employees aren't that lovely. They aren't very nice compared to other parks. They're just a common thing I've noticed this weekend. We went to Kings Island Friday night. Saturday, we went to Cedar Point. A lot of employees don't even you could tell they don't want to be there. And that was a complete change from what I had experienced with Kings Island the week before. Memorial Day weekend, everybody's nice, courteous, everybody's on top of their game. But Friday night, it was just something was off at Kings Island, and it was definitely off at Cedar Point. Like, no one would talk to you. So, like, we went again to the French Quarter Cafe at Cedar Point. The person behind the counter was mumbling and all that. I'm like, okay, what kind of toppings? And then boom, like, not good customer service. And I don't like to be negative here on the podcast. I really don't. But it's just, again, giving you my experience and just like, this is how my day was. But beignets, they were great. Moving on. So then we just walked the park again, looking in gift shops and stuff. And then we went over to the Sky Ride. But before we went on, we got some ices. Since we got the Drink Plan Plus this year, we got ourselves some ices there. And something, this is a tip if anybody from Cedar Point, I don't think they are listening, but please keep the icy machines behind the counter. A little instance there, we noticed that the employees were giving out quote unquote ice cups or water cups to kids who were going and getting ices. They catch them the first time. I don't know if they did the second time, but they kept getting ices and just kids kept stealing. Just put the icy machines behind the counter. It's sad you have to do that because one rotten kid can ruin it for everybody. And as we've seen that with Kings Island's VIP Lounge, it's a whole nother episode. But I like I said, I don't like giving a bad report, but it's just our day. It was kind of sad there. But anyways, we rode the Sky Ride. It was fun. I may have done the Sky Ride as a kid down the Midway. Like I said, I don't remember too much detail from when I was younger, but it was nice riding the Sky Ride. It is a beautiful day. Let me add that too. The day was beautiful. And I'm looking at myself as I'm recording this, and I am very tan. It is nice and sunny. It was a very cool day. It wasn't too hot. Wasn't too cold. It was just right. Just fine, as old Goldilocks says. But anyways, so we did Sky Ride. We went over to the lawn ornament of... I made a lot of people mad right now, probably. But we walked past Top Thrilled 2, and it's down. So we went into the gift shop. There we went into the CP Racing shop, and it's really neat. This is something I want to give a shout out to Cedar Point for, is they're on their merch game. They have some amazing merch at the park. Kings Island, take note. But Cedar Point has some of the best merch I've ever seen at a regional park. Outside of Universal and Disney, Cedar Point has some of the best merch out there. They have merch for everything. They have merch for the petting zoo. They have merch for Churro. They have a little stuffed animal Churro, a sticker, a button of Churro. They have merch for their flat rides. They have merch for Wild Mouse. I got a lot of merch for Wild Mouse, which I'm very surprised about. A bunch of Cedar Point specific merch is really great. So kudos to them. And then in the Top Thrill or the CP Racing shop there, they literally had anything you could think of to put that logo on. So I ended up getting one of the pins, the CP Racing pins there. I love it. And when we go back, I want to get some more, some more CP Racing and just Cedar Point merch. And I'll go ahead and jump to the end of the day real quick. I did end up walking out of the park with, again, the CP Racing lapel pin. Kenzie and I both got buttons from the button shop. She got a Churro one, and I got a Gatekeeper one. And the shirt I got is part of their Stars and Stripes collection. I don't know if it's temporary for like the summer season or if it's for like the 4th of July, Labor Day, or Memorial Day season. Memorial Day, Labor Day, whatever. During the patriotic season, I don't know if it's exclusively for that or if it's like season long, but they had a really cool collection. So I got one that says America's Roller Coast, red shirt or red heathered shirt with the shape of Ohio with a roller coaster in it. So that's what I walked out with merch wise. But going back to merch, they do a phenomenal job. After the CP Racing store, we go to Magnum XL. And oh my goodness, that's another ride I want to put under the category of this ride was not made for men. This is not made for guys, grown adult men. If you can put two and two together from Vortex and Magnum XL, it was hurting. It hurt me. And I joked with Kinsey as soon as we pull into the break ground. I'm like, "Oh, Kinsey, I had a fun time on this ride. It hurt a lot, though. I almost fell off the seat." Yeah, I put some of those hints together, but it was an interesting ride. Magnum XL. It was about a 15-minute wait, so I was like, "Oh, something with a short line. We'll go in and ride that." I see why it was a short wait, but. After Magnum XL, again, just walking the park, just seeing the beauty of the park, and I think we did go back to the petting zoo, saw the animals out there. We got to see old Churro again, got to see Samson the camel, and some of the geese there, or the swan, geese, duck area, um, some cows, some goats, some sheep. All the cast of characters of animals were there. It was nice seeing them, petting them, and all that good stuff. So we did that, and then the last ride of the night we rode was Wild Mouse, and that was a wild ride, no pun intended. We didn't expect how crazy it was going to be, but it was a really smooth ride, a lot smoother than Ricochet, which that was insane. So I believe there's still hope for Wild Mouse coasters out there, but Wild Mouse is a lot of fun. Uh, and following that, we wrap the day up by going to the Grand Pavilion, which I was not impressed with what I had there. I'm not a seafood guy, so the options they had there, uh, it was slim. So I ended up again getting fried chicken, and the chicken they had there was too meaty, too white of meat, and it was too rough to eat there. So I didn't really get to eat there. Um, their fries, they were all right. That's where the wedge fries were. I wasn't too pleased with the wedge fries there, but the seasoned fries over at farm or at the farmhouse grill or the farm grill, whatever it's called. Those were good, but I wasn't pleased with the food there at the Grand Pavilion. But the view was amazing. I think the view makes up for the meal there. But if you're looking for a good view, I'm sure it looks beautiful in the evening. The sun setting, you're looking out over the beach. Great view there. But that was really our day at the park. Just got a few rides, which we got a lot more done than we thought we would. So, yeah, that was our day at Cedar Point. And as I mentioned, I do want to give you a little rundown. Some of my top coasters. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My top 8 coasters at Cedar Point. And it goes as follows. And this includes coasters that we rode the last time we were there. So, I'll start with number 8. Number 8 is Raptor. I love me a good invert, but that one hurt. That's all I can remember. And that Banshee still reigns supreme as the best invert coaster out there. And then 7 is Magnum XL, and as I said, it's not a ride made for guys. Enough said. Number 6 is Wild Mouse. Again, a very whipping ride, a smooth ride, so that's why it's not low there. 5 is Rougarou. Again, it was a neat experience for something we haven't done really before. So Rougarou. Number 4 is Steve. I love Steel Vengeance. Good RMC. But I, I'm going to be in trouble for saying this with a lot of enthusiasts out there. But I personally like Storm Chaser better than Steel Vengeance. Yeah. And then number 3 is Millie. I love me some good Millie. Um, Still one of the best Gigas out there. Uh, it's up there with Fury. I like that. So Millie. Number 2 is Gatekeeper. I love Gatekeeper, especially if you're on the beach side. Really great view there of the beach and just a fun ride. I love wing coasters, and I do think Gatekeeper is a little bit better than Wild Eagle over um, at Dollywood. So, and number 1, as you can tell, is Maverick. I loved Maverick, and I'll tell you this about Maverick going into detail about Maverick. I'm gonna go ahead and say Maverick for the 100th time in that sentence, but for Maverick, again, like I mentioned, I didn't know what to expect. At this point, I'm like, is this worth a 2.5 hour wait to get on this thing? Is it worth it? I honestly told Kenzie, it's like, is this worth waiting in line for? I put a poll out on Epic Destinations. Everybody said yes, except for one person, which I think they might have accidentally clicked no on accident. But I had doubts. I wrote it. We finally got to the top, got in line, wrote it in the very back, and oh my goodness, uh, I and honestly, right now Maverick is my number 1 coaster I've ever ridden because it's done something that no other coaster has done to me yet. We went and we saw the POVs, we saw everything, but this is the very first coaster ever to make me freak out when I rode it in a good way. Literally the whole time after that first drop, the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is crazy, this is insane, oh my gosh, this is insane. I literally repeated that the whole time, like, wow, this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome. It just had an effect that no other coaster has done to me yet. And if you can do that to me, you are definitely ranking high on my list in a good way. Like, if you're able to pull a legit reaction out of me, you're a winner in my book. So Maverick has earned its number 1 spot on my list of coasters. So it's my number 1 coaster. Um, yeah. If you want to see my initial reaction and thoughts, go on over to my Epic Destination Vlogs on Instagram and see uh, a video I recorded right after getting off the ride. It's my legit reactions to it. I wish we were able to have a camera at the brake run or allowed to hold phones at the brake run because I would have given a legit reaction like, oh my goodness, what just happened? That was amazing type reaction. So, yeah, Maverick is number 1 in my books. And as I mentioned, I was going to share with you my ranking as to where Cedar Point shows up on my top parks that I visited. It is currently listed as number 4, and my coaster rankings for those who care, or my park rankings for those who care. Number 1 is Dollywood. Number 2 is Islands of Adventure. 3 is Universal Studios Orlando. 4 is Cedar Point. 5 is Holiday World. 6 is Kings Island. 7 is Carowinds. 8 is Hershey Park, which a little bit about that, why it's there, is because I went a few years ago not really expecting anything. It wasn't a really good trip. So we're going back later this year, Kenzie and I, so we're really going to enjoy it ourselves and just walk the park and things like that and try to take in as much as possible. So Hershey's number 8. 9 is Kentucky Kingdom. 10 is Epcot. 11 is Magic Kingdom. 12 is Animal Kingdom. 13 is Hollywood Studios. And 14 is SeaWorld Orlando. I probably have talked about this in a previous episode, but the reason SeaWorld Orlando is number 14 is just it was a terrible experience. And yeah, there's not much to do there coaster wise. The staff was terrible that day. Just I don't know what was going on, but yeah. But Cedar Point is number 14 on my list of parks, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts about Cedar Point. Where is Cedar Point on your park rankings if you visited the park? What's your favorite ride? Let's interact a little bit. Head on over to our social medias or even the question of the week. I'm going to go ahead and make it for the podcast. The question of the week is, what are your thoughts on Cedar Point? What's your favorite coaster? What's your favorite memory there? Let me know. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And I'll give a better, in-depth report once I've experienced everything coaster-wise and everything the park has to offer when we go back in just a few weeks. But that's our trip report for this week. And now let's head on over to our spot for lodge lovers. Are you a thrill seeker looking for the perfect place to rest your head after a day filled with excitement? Look no further than Lodge Lovers, the trusted and recommended lodging provider of Rive Your Life Ministries. Whether you're planning for your next coaster trip, vacation getaway, or adventurous expedition, Lodge Lovers has you covered. With a wide range of rental prices to suit every budget, you can find the perfect accommodation for your needs. As a faith-based company, Lodge Lovers is committed to providing comfortable and welcoming lodging for all sorts of trips and adventures. Plus, when you book with Lodge Lovers, you're not just booking a place to stay, you're making a difference. That's right, Lodge Lovers is proud to donate 2.5% of all bookings to help Ride of Your Life Ministries. And you can rest easy knowing your stay is not just enriching your experience, but also contributing to a great cause of reaching those who need the gospel of Jesus Christ. For your next unforgettable adventure, choose Lodge Lovers. Book now and experience the perfect blend of comfort, convenience, and compassion. Visit our website, riverlifeministries.com, to learn more and to reserve your stay today with Lodge Lovers. All right, and now let's go over some news for ROYL. First and foremost, next Saturday, June 15th at 1 p.m., we are meeting at Kings Island for our summer 2024 ROYL Summer Meetup. We're going to just have a great day at the park. From 1 to 4, we're going to ride as many coasters as we can over in Rivertown. So the plan is to catch rides on Mystic Timbers and Diamondback, and maybe Beast, depending on the time. And possibly, again, depending on time, we might catch a ride on Snoopy Soapbox Racers. And then we will make our way to the front of the park to catch the 3 o'clock showing of the Gazillion Bubble Show, which is premiering that day. So this will be the second showing of the day there. Let's catch a seating and a showing of that. And then we'll wrap up with a group photo in front of the Kings Island sign out front. But as I mentioned, we're meeting at 1 o'clock. We're meeting outside the Kings Island Theater. And we'll just meet up as a group and then head over to Rivertown, catch those rides, Gazillion Bubbles, and a group photo. Just a great day of just fun and fellowship together. And yeah, so that's our plan for that. But what if it rains? You're thinking, what if it rains like it did this morning here in Ohio? But if it rains, our plan is to I believe I'm pulling my notes so I can give you an accurate information here. So if it rains, we are going to meet at if it rains, we'll meet at the Kings Island Theater again at 1 p.m. and see the 1 o'clock showing of the Gazillion Bubble Show. Following that, we will make our way over to Boo Blasters, just take a ride on there, and then take the group photo in the Peanut Showplace. It'll be a shorter day, or a shorter meetup, but it'll still be fun. Just, again, as just a time of fellowship and just fun together as our summer ROYL meetup. So, yeah. And other news as well, the ROYL Shop. Head on over to rideyourlifeshop.com. We got a new design in today, Sunday, June 2nd. It is a King of Kings, Lord of Lords shirt, and it's a parody of a tall coaster, a very tall coaster, 400 feet to be exact. If you see design, you will kind of know what it is. But we're going to be putting out some parody shirts as well, some Christian coaster parody shirts. And so far we have Forgiven 316 and King of Kings and Lord of Lords shirts out. So go ahead and grab those over at the ROYL Shop. We're going to have more designs coming throughout the summer. But you can also grab our Let Freedom Ride shirt and our usual branded merch as well. And as always, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X at Ride Your Life Ministries. And I believe on X, you can find us at, what is it? ROYL Ministries. And that's ROYL without the A. Ministries. And just get connected with us there. You can find us on our website, Facebook. Again, I'm struggling here, y'all. You can visit our website, rideyourlifeministries.com, and you can text us at the ROYL Hotline, and that is 513-285-8319. Again, that's 513-289-8319. Y'all, I am struggling today. I just said the ROYL Hotline number. I'm going to repeat it again. 513-285-8319. That's the actual... Just look down the show notes. Y'all, I think it's time for me to go get some rest. It's time for me to go to bed. It is 10:40 p.m. right now here in Ohio. So I'm going to hit the hay. Hope you all have a great day, a great week. God bless, and we will see you here next Monday here on the ROYL Podcast. Peace. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Ride Your Life Podcast. We hope it's a blessing, help, and encouragement to you. You can connect with us here at Ride Your Life Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Ride Your Life Ministries. You can also find us on X at ROYL Ministries, and that's ROYL without the A. You can find us on our website at rideyourlifeministries.com, and you can text us at the ROYL Hotline at 513-285-8319. And again, that is 513-285-8319. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast streaming platform, and also leave a review so that the word gets out to those who need to hear it. We hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next Monday. God bless.